Hey there, I'm Mama Lisa, and I've been blessed to meet amazing people along my life's journey. People with diverse careers, interests, and a passion for improving the world through acts of service and kindness. I'm an educator, a mother, wife, and friend to all. Early exposure to careers and training can change the world and end poverty as we know it. So, what are you waiting for? Let's sit down, chat, and learn about careers together as we work to change the world. I'm Mama Lisa. I know cool people, and I'm bringing it to you. And welcome to Career Talks with Mama Lisa. Enjoy.
Right. So I think you guys can go ahead and put your questions in the chat room even before we begin tonight. If you have questions that are burning inside of you, and participants, as we go throughout the chat, you can feel free to check the chat room as well and answer some of those questions if they're targeted towards you. But the way this segment will run, we will have 2 rounds. In round one, each panelist will share their career journey. And after they share their career journey, we will open the floor to you guys. You can choose to type in your question or ask them live. I do have some questions that were submitted to me before the show, and I will be polite and ease those in as we go along. In round two, participants, what we look for you to do is share some of the challenges that you have overcome along the way in your career. And you can also expound on some of those things that you do outside of beauty and fashion. So we are going to begin our discussion tonight. We're going to head on over to Washington, D.C., where we will hear from Tamika Jones Young. And after we hear from Tamika Jones Young, we will hear from Erica Spicer Allen.
Well, thanks for having me. And my name is Tamika Young, and I am an international model. And I've worked as a model for a long time. We won't have to say how long that's been, but probably over about 20 years. I guess I've been in the modeling industry. I started off in Dayton, Ohio, where I'm from. I worked as a model in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was one of those people who was kind of leery. I really wanted to do modeling, but I wasn't sure exactly how to get started. And so I took that leap and went to a modeling school, if you will. Started with an agency, and I did pay for classes, and it really worked out for me. I can say that for some, they didn't have the same path that I did, but it worked really well for me. I started off doing some print modeling. I did a lot of runway. I really, really liked and still do enjoy doing runway. I work with designers like Tommy Hilfiger and DSW and Macy's, and those are some of the jobs that I had earlier on. And actually, in preparing for this discussion today, I was just trying to think about some of the things that I did starting off. And one of my first jobs, I was actually working as a model in the British Virgin Islands. So I had been, some models in my agency were recruited to go over as models for a contest. There was a contest that was held, and it was Pusser's Rum, I believe, that held the contest and wanted models just to come over and keep the contestants company, show them around the island. We were on a yacht for like 2 weeks. It was like the best job I've ever had in my life. And and so that was like my first international job, if you will. And it paid well. And all I had to do was like pass out water and say, you know, these events are over here, or these activities are over there. And I've never had a job like that again, but it was, that's how I got started. I would say after that, I've moved around a little bit. After Ohio, I went to North Carolina, and I lived in Greensboro area, and I met some challenges there. It was different for me. I came into an agency that already had a girl with my look, dark skin, long hair, and so I basically had to kind of come up behind her when there were jobs that only wanted models with one look, I would say. So that was a little more challenging for me. And I only lived in Greensboro for a couple of years, so I really never really felt like I got my footing there. Then moved here to the DC area. And well, let me go back. So Greensboro also, that's when I started to do social media. And so when my first experience doing social media was, I never had a Twitter account. I didn't want one. Kimora Lee Simmons had a contest called Faces in the Crowd. And she was looking for faces for her beauty skincare line. And so I decided, like, literally at the 11th hour to enter into that contest. And I did. And one day I was looking through my junk mail and my emails and happened to see that I had gotten a callback for that. So I ended up going to California, and I went through that process. So that was my first and really only time doing television, reality shows, but I was chosen as one of her faces to represent her skincare line. And you couldn't tell me anything. Like, I thought I had made it. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be one of Kimora's faces in the crowd, because I have always, like, I was always with an agency, but I always really tried to work hard to, like, push myself. Even when I lived in Ohio, but I was trekking the New York Fashion Week. I was hitting the pavement, trying to see, who I could meet. And the jobs that I started off doing when I did New York Fashion Week, when I did Tommy Hilfiger, were not, I won't say my agency wasn't helpful, but they weren't jobs that I got through my agency. I was pushing myself. And so I would show up places where I shouldn't have been. I was trying to, if I saw someone who I thought, like a casting director or another model, even especially back then, like New York Fashion Week, you see models walking around with their books. I was just following on behind them, like, I'm going with wherever she's going and trying to get into the castings, anybody like that I could. So I really wanted it. And so I was just saying, basically what I would do was to reach out to people and connect with whoever I could, whether it be someone on the street, like I said, with Kevin Hall, they had an industry standard look that I did not quite meet. My hip size was a little big, but I'm just like, let me out there, let me do it, let me try, and I will show you that I can do it. I actually flew out to LA just for a casting twice, and they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I got turned down. So like the third time, I finally was able to get the job, and I was flying out there from Greensboro. So I never really wanted to take no for an answer. And I think that's basically the moral, of the story, is what I was trying to do is I just, I kept pushing and pushing myself, because a lot of times the agencies are out there and they want to trying to help push you, but again, they really want to help people who are helping themselves, but nobody's going to push you like you can push yourself. So, and then now that I'm in the DMV area, I'm not as aggressive with it, but I still kind of keep that same mindset that nobody is going to push me like I push myself. And from that, I've been able to do Paris Fashion Week, go to Ghana, and do London, and all of those none of those were through my agencies. Like, all of them were just because I was trying to find a way, and they were sometimes it was submitting my information, but most of the time it hasn't been that way. It's because I've been making person-to-person contact or through connections just from my own volition.
Mika, thank you for sharing that with us. Again, we are going to move along to our next panelist, and we are going to hear from Miss Erica Spicer. She's in Georgia, and Erica is the owner of Beauty Enhanced by Erica, as well as Spicer Cosmetics. Erica, take it away. You remember, Tanya?
Okay, hi everyone. My name's Erica Allen. I currently reside in Statesboro, Georgia. I'm the business owner of Beauty Enhanced by Erica, and I have a makeup line called Spice Cosmetics. A little bit about my makeup journey. I started my journey in 2012. Let's see here. What motivated me to start makeup was I became a young mother at the age of 19. I was currently going to school for a medical assistant at the time, and I was working at Body Central, a local store in the mall, but that just wasn't my calling. So I knew I always loved beauty and everything about makeup, skincare, fashion. So, I just stepped out on faith and I started my journey with makeup 2012. I went back to Ogeechee Tech for aesthetics. Let's see, I graduated that program in 2013. And shortly after that, I started working at a salon here in Statesboro. A great opportunity. I learned a lot. But I definitely was motivated and I wanted to have my own space. So let's see, I want to say my journey began having my own studio, like I want to say 2014. So I started my makeup business 2014. I've had my studio going on 6 years now. And let's see here. And I absolutely love it. I love to make women look and feel good. I always have. And that's my journey, guys.
All righty, guys. If you do have questions for Erica, make sure you put those in the post. Now, Erica, we haven't heard about Spice Cosmetics. How did that, like, where did
How did that come about? It pretty much came from my grandma. I can honestly say my grandma used to sell like Mary Kay and Avon growing up. So being around that, I always loved makeup and was intrigued by it. So I know I always wanted my own cosmetics line. So I started my own makeup line in 2018. I did it for about a year and I got a little bit unmotivated because I didn't have the right resources and everything. So I've recently just started back. I did a relaunch this current year of Spice Cosmetics, and it's bigger and better than before. So that's definitely where everything came from with my cosmetics.
All right, and about your makeup business, how has that business grown over the years? Where did you start as opposed to where are you today with that?
Let's see. It's definitely grown. Like I say, I have better resources. I've connected with different women and everything. So it's growing. People are saying, how they love my products, how they feel confident. I also just launched a skincare line. So all that has definitely like taken off for me, and it's growing.
Going to head over to another destination in the state of Georgia, and we're going to hear from Miss Lou. And after Miss Lou, we are going to head up to Atlanta, where we'll hear from Michelle.
Hi, everybody. I am Miss Lou Holloway. I'm here in Statesboro, Georgia. I'm the owner of That's No Lie Natural Hair Salon and Shop, LLC. I've been here in Statesboro since 2011. I left for a little while and just came back last May, so I'm happy to be back in the borough. I got my start in beauty and fashion kind of late. I had always wanted to become a cosmetologist. I have been braiding since I was about 7 years old. I used to braid on the back of the bus, during homeroom. People would pay me $5 to get their hair braided. I had a little business going on at my school. And I had the intention of becoming a cosmetologist in high school, but everyone said, go to college, you'll be the first in the family. And so I did. I have a bachelor's and a master's in education, but I have always been the hairstylist where you come to the house, you sit in the kitchen, you sit on the back porch, sometimes the front porch. I have had a love for hair my entire life. It wasn't until my mid-30s last year, just kidding, my mid-30s, where I decided I really wanted to push to get my cosmetology license. And so I retired from education. I had been in the school system for about, I guess, 12, 13 years at the time. And I moved here to Statesboro with one of my baby sisters. And that is how I actually got into having my own salon. And I came to Statesboro. There wasn't anyone who was specializing in natural hair, and that's what I knew. And so I opened a small salon. I made $25 my first week. The next week, I made 100, and then after that, it just took off. I have been very blessed to have had this natural salon because I really wasn't in competition with anyone. There wasn't a place where you could just get your natural hair services. Although, you know, we know there are hair salons all over the place, and there were so many businesses who the people in Statesboro had been patronizing for years. So for me, it was really, I was very fearful in opening because I just didn't think they would choose That's No Lie. But here it is. This is what, 8, 9 years later, and even upon the return, clients are coming back and they're recognizing there's still a need for someone to help them care for their natural hair. A few years ago, I went back to school and I got my cosmetology instructor's license. So I've been teaching for a few years. And in the new salon, I'm able to offer all services. You can get your skincare services, your hair care services, of course, the nails. It's kind of like your one-stop shop where you can come and get anything done. And I offer also services for men as well. So I think for me, for being in the borough, I've just had the opportunity to service so many people and still work within my calling. I'm an educator. I am a hairstylist. And so being able to put the two of those together have kind of really balanced out my world. I love what I do. I love that I don't have to choose now between being an educator or being a cosmetologist. I have the opportunity to put both together.
Yeah. All right, we're going to head over to Savannah, Georgia, and we're going to hear from Latifa Simmons, who is a model and an actress. Latifa.
I'm off of mute. So hi everybody, I'm Latifa. I go by Queen. I was introduced to fashion and beauty when I was 17 years old. My first opportunity was with a hair salon, Daryl for Hair to be specific. He let me be one of his models for a photo shoot he was doing back in 2011. So that was my introduction. And from there, I opened up a world of opportunities. And when I graduated from high school, I got accepted to go to SCAD to major in fashion marketing and management. And more opportunities for modeling opened there. As you know, in art school, so many fashion designers, photographers, just artists from every discipline. So it was a whirlwind of experience. And from there, I was not only introduced to fashion and beauty, but all other realms of entertainment, which is why my career path sort of took a change from the initial origins. So in SCAD, I was a major in fashion marketing and management. And I developed a love for like the show of everything. Like I love fashion shows. I love being in them and I love creating them, curating them, art shows, painting, viewings, being a part of festivals, things like that. So everywhere where you can get entertained, whether it be for fashion, beauty, music, any type of art form. So from SCAD, I graduated and moved to Washington, D.C., where I had the opportunity to get into another discipline, which is entertainment management at what's called Dance Place. It's a theater, and they have a lot of classes during the week, and then they have the shows on the weekends. I also did a fashion show there, Anna and Cara Bazaar. So they have an interesting fashion scene, very Afrocentric, very like futuristic Afrocentric. scene. That was a lot of fun. From there, I moved to Atlanta, which is like the Hollywood of the South, or the New York City of the South, some people may say. I like to consider it Atlanta because it's its own distinct experience of things, and it literally is a melting pot of everything. So you'll get a lot of fashion and beauty there. I used to work at the convention center where they would have the hair show, the big what is it called? The big hair show that happens like every August or September. Bronner Brothers. Yes, thank you, Bronner Brothers. Yes, thank you. So I was exposed to that, and that was just incredible for me to see that firsthand, because, you know, we grow up hearing about it and we see it on social media, but to be there and to network with people and to, you know, do all of that, it was just, I love it. So that's why I kind of like joined the worlds of like entertainment and fashion, and kind of just dabbled in different opportunities within that. And I also dabbled into public service, which is like far ranging from that, but I in a way kind of cultivated all of that together again. It's kind of interesting how you can take like polar opposites or things that seemingly are unrelated and then bring them together. So I know that was a lot. I'm a bit out everywhere, all over the place, but that's pretty much that's been the past 4 years of my life, or 8 years of my life, to present day. And I'm in Savannah, Georgia. I will be relocating to Los Angeles, California later this year for the opportunity to work in public service, but also that is a heavy focal point for entertainment too. So interesting journey. I'll stop now. I feel like I'm rambling. Thank you.
Rambling. You know, you have to give us some more details about your public service. We know that you're going to LA. What are you going to be doing in LA, and what have you been doing in your career with public service, Latifah?
Yes. So public service professionally started in 2019. So last year, when I started working for the city, I worked with a couple different nonprofits, and I was able to be the event coordinator over a program called Summer 500. And that was a beautiful experience. That's how I came to know Miss Campbell as well, collaborating with her in that adventure of an experience. And what was fun is I got to not only coordinate that, but also the culminating activity, which was a lot of fun, and just like bring people together and be entertained by things. So in LA, I will be working for a series of nonprofits where we will help in a couple different fields of public service. So poverty alleviation, of course, immigration, education, homelessness, and health. So I'll be working in all of those fields with like 7 different nonprofits that's hosted by the Episcopal Diocese of Los Angeles. So.
All right, thank you so much. And now we have Michelle back with us on the call. We are going to pick back up with Michelle. Michelle, you were telling us about your company when the computer froze.
Very good. So I'm not sure where I left off, but I have an entertainment company, and I'm a stylist, celebrity stylist. So I've dressed a lot of stylists. I've worked with Tyler Perry for several years as a stylist, and I don't know if most of you all are young, but I worked for Clinton Kelly, which was part of the hit fashion TV series, What Not to Wear. And him and I went all over the world for 10 years dressing women. So that's my celebrity stylist part of my company. And then the second part is I have a model and talent agency. So I book professional models for jobs. I book all the shows. Simon Malls. I do a traveling tour, which I've done for over 20 years, believe it or not. But I actually model in that show, and then I took over, and we go to 14 cities a year showing the latest browns and tuxes. So also, and then the third part of my company is I'm a producer, so fashion shows, and I produce fashion shows for Macy's for over last 20 to 25 years, and I go from city to city showing the latest trends of the season and working with their celebrity clients and producing the fashion shows. So, and how hard it was, I've always loved fashion from an early age, but so I knew I would do something in fashion, but I thought I would be more of a designer starting off. But one of my friends, my mom said, well, that's all nice to be creative and everything, but you are going to college. So I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I end up going to college at Arizona State University. So from one end of the map to the other end of the map, I went to school, and I did go to college and finish college. Right after that, a friend of mine asked me if I would go to a model search with her. And I said, yeah, I don't want to model. I'm not going. She said, well, just come to support. So that's what I did, but I'm tall, I'm 5'8". So they're like, well, you're here, this model too. And that took me on a journey as a professional model. I modeled all over the world. Donna Karan, Michael Kors, Oscar de la Renta, all those designers, and it was really a lot of fun. So that's kind of how I started modeling, is one thing, and I went on the flute with a friend. But after that, as time went on, I started working a lot behind the scenes. Like during fashion shows, models would say, Michelle, can you do my makeup? You know, you do really good makeup. Can you do my makeup? So I said, I think I'll be a makeup artist. And I did makeup for Channel 11 News for several years here in Atlanta. And then I started doing in the fashion shows that I would participate in. Models would be like, Michelle, can you put my hair in an up bun? Can you put my hair in a chignon? Can you braid my hair? So I said, I think I want to be a hairstylist. And so then I realized you guys have a lot of opinions on your hair. And I quickly said, I don't want to be a hairstylist because it's just so hard. And because I wasn't sure, I was trying to find myself, but one thing kept leading to another. So at that time, I was doing a lot of modeling for Macy's and all of their shows. And one time, one of the directors there said, Michelle, we're booked up solid. Can you please put on a fashion show for us? And because none of us can do it, we're all busy with our own shows. And I said, no, absolutely not. I can't do it because I've never put on a show before. But I want to encourage all of you all to step outside the box and just, even when you don't think you can do something, just because every time I said I couldn't do something, I ended up doing it, and it brought me to where I am today. So I have to tell you all that to encourage you, because it's unbelievable where I've ended up, because believe me, this was not my plan to end up where I was. So when the director asked me to do the show, I did the show and I said, bingo, bells, lights, flashes, lightning came down. I felt like I was in my element, and that's what I've been doing for the last 20 to 25 years, is producing fashion shows, and that takes me all over the world. I also book models in Germany and Italy, and I have relationships with all the top agencies in New York and LA. So when I find talent, because I scouted for a company for about 10 years during my journey, and all over the country, scouting models and then them with agencies depending on what they were looking for at the time. So I guess what I want to say to you all is that I know some of you all are models, to keep going and just follow your journey, because you never know where you'll end up, but keep doing what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's what was told to me. It was a cliche, and it really has worked for me too. So that's my story.
Yeah. And now we're gonna bring you guys on over to the Low Country, where we are going to hear from Miss Olga Williams. She is the owner of Icons, and she'll tell you even more of what she does. Take it away, Olga.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here. My name is Olga Williams. Everyone calls me Loto. I'm unmuted. I am owner of Icons Hair Studio and Boutique, LLC. I've been a master cosmetologist for 25 years. I absolutely love the beauty industry. I love everything about the industry. I started out as an assistant at a very popular salon here in Savannah called Too Groovy Hair Productions. And I started off as an assistant, and I absolutely just love this industry. From being an assistant, I went to state board, got my license. I'm here 25 years later. I've been a salon owner for 15 years this year. I absolutely love the relationships that I build with clients. It's more about, just them in the chair. I'm into relationships, building relationships. And so that has helped my business grow for the past 15 years. I'm actually in the process of opening my third location, which is Icons Hair Studio and Boutique here in Pooler. It's going to be more of a more intimate business now. We're going to the Sweet Life. What else do I do? I'm also a commentator. I commentate, I host folk fashion shows. What else do I do? I motivate, I enhance your beauty, and I absolutely love this industry.
And tell us what you do with Design Essentials.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm also an educator for Design Essentials. I've been an educator for 12 years. I've traveled a lot. I've met a lot of people. And I love this industry. I love the beauty industry. I love to mentor up and coming stylists. I'm into healthy hair. It's all about the health of the hair.
All righty, thank you so much, Miss Olga. Now, guys, we're gonna do is get to our first round of questions. If you're viewing on Facebook Live, you can feel more than welcome to type your questions down there in the comment box, and we will get those to our panelists as well. Now, do we have any in the chat box? I know that we have a recent graduate from the fashion marketing industry. She's graduated from Johnson & Wales. And we would like to go down to Savannah, Georgia and hear from Miss Sierra Duval. What is your question for our panelists on tonight? You're on mute, so you want to make sure you unmute yourself.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Let's see, I had a couple questions for everyone. How do you want me to do this?
You just go ahead with your question because more than one person may be able to answer.
Yes, it was kind of questions for everyone. Let's see. From hearing everyone, I made a bullet on challenges, so everyone can kind of answer this. How did you learn how to differentiate and set yourself apart from everyone? Because obviously we all are involved in something that's very broad and vast, and it can feel like, how can I be different when everyone's doing the same thing that I'm doing? And I struggle with that myself. And then you want me to just keep going down or just wait and let everyone know?
Let's get that one out. All right, can somebody want to take that first?
Hey Sierra, this is Miss Lou. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, how are you?
I'm good, my love. All right, so I think with differentiating, the first thing is it has to be something you believe in. If you just pick something thinking, oh, nobody's doing this or no one's doing that, and you have no idea how to start, it becomes more of a challenge, an obstacle that you're hard to overcome. So first, it has to be something you believe in, not that passion that everybody says, I'm passionate about this, I'm passionate about that. It's something that every time you think, every time you dream, every time your eyes are awake, it's got to be that one thing that you believe in. For me, my challenge was being in a new city. I didn't know anyone here. And so that made me really nervous, but I've made a bunch of business cards. I was at the Dollar Tree, I was at Walmart, I was at places where I would just see people who looked like me, people who had natural hair, women of color, and I would just go out, introduce myself, give them a card, and just keep going. And from that, I think it just kind of differentiated myself from others only because I was out in the community. I didn't have a place to start, so I started with what I knew, and that was just going out to regular places. I didn't have a desire to do all types of hair, to do every single thing that was available. So I honed in on natural hair because that's just what I knew. So that might be something, if you think about what you studied in school, where's that one area that's just like, that's it for you? Start with that.
I have a comment as well. I would say, don't be so worried about making yourself different from everybody else. While you want to be aware of what your competition or what other people are doing, you wanted to do you. Like the woman was just saying, you know, look into your passion, look and follow your goal, and set your course and do you. Because if you're too worried about what everybody else is doing, then you're too busy. Your focus isn't where it should be. You set your goal and shoot for that, and just, you know, try to stay that course.
Did anybody else want to chime in?
Well, Sierra, I want to chime in. I would have to, hey Sierra, I would have to say it has to be a passion. Like Ms. Lou said, it has to be my desire is to get up every morning and change a woman's life. So when they walk through that door of Icons, they're going to leave feeling good. They're going to leave looking good. So you definitely have to set yourself apart. And like Tamika said, you know, don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just be the best that you can be, and nothing else matters.
And on top of that, I'd like to add, guys, when I host auditions for models and talent, things is be nice. When models come in to audition, I love when they come in and say, hi, how are you? And they come in with a smile on their face. You'd be surprised if you just do that, that makes a big difference.
Thank you, ladies, very much. Sierra, you can stay with your next.
Oh, I was gonna chime in, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Sierra. So for me, I knew I wanted to enhance women's natural beauty, and I knew my goal was to make women look and feel beautiful. So I always like to walk to the beat of my own drum, and just stay consistent, have fun with what you're doing, and always step out on faith.
All right, Sierra, you can come in with your next question.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I was nervous on the first one. Let's see. I just took notes. I guess the biggest one that I know I'm personally dealing with is how do you deal with criticism from clients and satisfying their needs? I guess I can give a little background of what I'm working with so it makes sense to tailor the questions and the answers. I'm starting my own business, and it's pretty much, it's called PQ Consulting. It hasn't officially launched, but I'm working on that this week. But I have been actually having clients through my friends, because through this time everyone's trying to launch their business and everything, and I just decided to eventually step out on faith and do everything, just because everyone kept asking me questions about their business. I'm like, well, I should start my business if everyone's already coming to me, like, let me get a roll on it. So yeah, I just deal with, okay, I know I have a good idea why I think it's good in my head, but I don't want to just push my wants and desires on them, especially if it's something that's personal to them as their business. I want them to be satisfied with whatever insight that I have. So, like, how do you deal with when someone gives you pushback and you don't know how to kind of collaborate with them?
All right, so I'll go ahead and start. First of all, you have to develop a thick skin, because you're going to hear so many different opinions from people. Got to tune all of that out and stay focused and be your own motivator, and surround yourself around positive people to push you. Doesn't like what you're doing, or they're going to say you can't do that, or everybody's doing that, whatever. Push it out of your mind, because you will stay stagnant if you don't. Stay focused, develop a thick skin, let it go in one ear and out the other, and just stay positive, and you'll get it done. Because no matter what you do, people are going to have opinions on what you do, but you can't let that stop you, because if you do, you will fall before you even start. So just be positive and surround yourself around people that are going to push you and motivate you.
And I just want to chime in with what you said, because that's absolutely correct, Ms. Lynch. Yes. And you definitely have to build your confidence up. You know, your confidence level needs to be on 10 right now, beyond 10, because you know what it is your goal is. Keep your eye on that goal. You know, don't worry so much about the journey. Keep your eye on the goal of where you're trying to get. And I promise you, you're going to hit it.
Hey, Sierra, one more thing. So here's a prime example. In the beauty industry, there's a salon on just about every single corner. And people are always looking for a good deal, always looking for the cheapest price, you know, and they call, hey, can you do X, Y, Z? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And they're like, okay, how much? I give them the price. And they're like, oh, I can get my homegirl down the street to do it. And I say, okay, well, I'm fine with you calling her. It's not so much as now I'm going to lower price to get that person. If you have complete faith in what you're offering, the people will come to you. You won't have to spend as much time turning them away or wondering what people are going to say or how they're going to receive it. You just stay strong in what you know. Stay strong in what you do, and not so much as what do you have to say in order to keep someone or get someone to come your way. I promise you, once you get started, it will come. And I'm going to also encourage you. Mama Lisa has another another Zoom coming up on Thursday, I believe. It is about entrepreneurship. That's the one you need to be on too.
Yep.
All right, was anybody else going to chime in on that? Or are you guys ready for the next question? All right, Sierra, do you have another question for us?
I always have questions. So I think this one, I believe from listening, I heard that some people were selling products, and I know some of that goes through wholesale, some of that goes through actually you making those products yourself. And this was kind of a question for like my upcoming clients, because I know they do a lot of wholesale and they're trying to make their own products. How did you actually go through checks and balances of actually choosing your products, and I guess, I don't know, figuring out everything from where do you balance quality versus quantity, price versus something that just kind of blends and stands with your brand?
Okay, I'll start. So one of the things that you want to do is develop your brand, know who you are, and once you know who you are, then you're going to know what products you want.
Sierra, I'm not sure are you under 18? No.
I'm 20. How old am I? I'm 23.
Okay. Because we didn't get to that part yet, but I have a nonprofit organization. It's the National Association for Kidpreneurs, and I work with kids who own their own business. And so what I think Lou McCrae was saying about your the call on Thursday and becoming an entrepreneur, all of that is some of that what you're talking about is kind of fleshed out in your business plan. And so when you start to make a business plan, you'll ask yourself a lot of questions, and then as you go through that process, I think you'll find that you'll be automatically answering those questions. And even though you are over 18, if you want, I can kind of guide you to some spaces or some resources where you can start working on and start building your business plan.
All right, that's a very good connection that's taking place on this call. Now, I would like to encourage other people that are on the call, if you do have these types of questions, our panelists are always amazing people. There have been several people that have participated in the calls, and they now have mentors who are helping them along the way in their careers. So do not be shy. The same way they have told Sierra to believe in herself, to know her worth. If you have a question, you don't have to say it out loud, but put it in the chat, because this is your opportunity. This is your moment. You need to maximize it, and you need to seize it, because we definitely have experts in the building who are willing and able to help to take you to the next level. Now, what we're going to do is go ahead and move into round 2, panelists. Now, this is going to be a natural flow for you guys. I'm going to tell you what I'd like for you to talk about, and you decide which way you want to move with this. In this section, I want you to take the time to share some challenges that you have overcome in your career, or you can take this opportunity to tell us about other endeavors that you are engaged in outside of your career. And we're going to begin this section with Mrs. Liu in Statesboro.
So I have been in the beauty industry since 2011, but I mentioned before that I'm also an educator. Got my start in public school education, and that's where I have my bachelor's and my master's degree. So education has always been an important part of everything I do. Currently, I teach at a beauty college, Empire Beauty School in Savannah. I am the student teacher educator. So I'm taking all the cosmetology graduates who are interested in becoming educators, and I'm training them so that they can continue to remain in the beauty industry and bring something addition to the beauty side of it. I have been I've been teaching in Savannah for almost a year. But with that part of the education, it's not just in the school. I teach classes at my salon. I go and teach classes throughout the community. I used to do a big natural hair meetup every single year, and I'm hoping to do that again in the fall. But the focus is really being able to give a more personal side to education. It's not your typical YouTube University graduate where you go on and you watch a video and you get a certificate, but it's really hands-on, not just with the teacher trainers, but with anyone who's interested in some side of the beauty industry. So there are classes for people who are not certified cosmetologists, like if you're a mom or a dad and you want to learn how to do your children's hair. There are classes for those who are certified in cosmetology as well. So that's a little bit of what I'm doing outside. And I also do a lot of community service, volunteering for events, anything where I'm available to just go out and meet people.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Liu. Now we're going to come over to Savannah, Georgia, and we are going to hear from Miss Loto Williams. Loto is she's a very unique individual, and one of the reasons that I am so connected to her is because of her community outreach. So if you can kind of let us know about your community outreach.
Okay, so that is one of my challenges. One of my challenges is actually staying behind the chair when I know that God has called me to do so many other things. But something that I'm very passionate about is gun violence. My son was killed 5 years ago this year, and we just jumped on board with bringing awareness to gun violence. So that is another one of my passions, speaking to young people and doing anything we can do to bring awareness to gun violence. My organization is called Dominique's World. We host several events throughout the year just to bring awareness to the gun violence, what's going on in the community. I'm actually over the campaign this year for wearing orange on June the 5th. So if you guys would, please wear orange for gun violence. We're gonna stop gun violence. I'm also very passionate about marriages and couples, because if our children see more love in their home, then they can have more love in the streets. So I'm very passionate about Black love and bringing love back together to families. I'm just all about motivating and inspiring and making better decisions in life. That is my passion.
Thank you very much, Ms. Loto. And now we are going to move on over to Statesboro, Georgia, where we're going to hear from Ms. Erica Spicer Allen. Erica has a very unique story. Erica, I'd like for you to share how you've overcome challenges to get to where you are today.
Great. Like I said, I became a young mother at 19. It was definitely challenging for me because I'm not from Statesboro, Georgia. I'm recently from Thomasville, so don't have much family here. So I struggled with my identity and everything for a long time. I knew the power that I had, but I struggled with a lot of things for a while.
Eric,
So,
Eric,
yes.
put your face in the camera for us. You're
Okay. Can you see me?
much better. All right.
That's much better. Okay. Gotcha. Let me see where I left off here.
Just went out again, Erica.
I went out. Can you hear me? Let me step outside, you guys. I'm sorry, I live in the woods.
We need to see your face. We can hear you perfect. There we go.
Can you see my face?
Okay, right there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so for me, like I say, where did I leave off at? Let's see.
19, no family. You're from Thomasville, Georgia.
I'm from Thomasville, Georgia. Right. So for me, I know that I wanted to connect with women more on a personal level. Like I said, I was going to school for a medical assistant. I did not like what I was doing at the time. My grandma was just saying, you know, my family, like, you'll be a great nurse, you'll be a pretty nurse, but I know that I wanted more for myself. So I began my journey with makeup. I started my journey at the age of 23. Let's see, so I've pretty much been behind the chair for a couple of years, and just want to touch bases on some of the things that I'm working on now, because I've done a host of proms, weddings, fashion shows. I've collaborated with a local photographer here named Lisa Marie. So currently right now I'm working on just more so the educational part of it, just trying to teach women how to do their makeup. So my focus have been like teaching makeup classes, and my focus now, something I'm working on for the youth here in Statesboro, because we really don't have a lot of things that's focused on the youth here in Statesboro. So I want to start a group for high school students here, just before they get ready to go to college. So mostly my focus is for the seniors here in the surrounding areas. I want to start teaching them, you know, like makeup etiquette, makeup skills, being a lady, and just things that'll help them on their journey before starting school. So for me now, it's bigger than makeup, because, you know, I absolutely love what I do, but I know that I have more to offer to the community.
All right, thank you so much, Miss Erica. And now we are going to go to Queen, Miss Latifah Simmons. Tell us about yourself.
Can you repeat that again?
Or the other things that you do.
So, originally, as stated before, I wanted to go to school for specifically fashion, marketing, and management, but I came out wanting to pursue entertainment, marketing, and management, and also public service. So that actually opened me up to a lot more of a range of opportunities to do things. And one of my main things that I try to tell younger people or people on the come up is that don't be afraid to travel. Being from a small city like Savannah, especially like, let's say 10 years ago, resources are minimal. They're definitely here, but let's say it's not as structured or as plentiful as a place like Atlanta or Los Angeles or New York. You know, like those are like the staple cities. So don't be afraid to actually move and experience things. You definitely want to expand your horizons. And that's, to me, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You will not grow in your comfort zone. So that's why I definitely love traveling and expanding my social circles, doing a lot of networking. I did a lot of volunteer work in DC and in Atlanta when I moved around with museums, with nonprofits, with festivals. I worked A3C Festival in Atlanta, and also Afropunk, which was the experience of my life. Their focal point is music, but it's also like become like a fashion staple thing too, because you'll see that that's one of the biggest marketing tools that they have, is like you go to this festival to see what everybody is wearing and see what they're doing with their hair, makeup, everything. And it's really beautiful aesthetics and everything like that. So getting experience in that, and also working, you know, jobs that did not pertain to my career interests, but helped me to stay afloat, like to survive day by day. Um, and that's another thing that, you know, we can always preach about positivity. We can always preach about passion and drive and things, but I want to also like speak on like the realities of sustaining yourself while pursuing the journey, and to equip yourself with things outside of just like passion and drive, just so that you can continue to fuel that. So one of those is like saving money. They always tell you to save money, but what are you saving money for? You know, so you save money so that you can be able to sustain yourself in a new city. You can, you know, feed yourself. You have a place to stay. Transport yourself to opportunities, to social gatherings, mixers, things like that. I could really get really in depth about things like that, but I guess I'll wait because I don't want to go on too long. I'll take too much time. But I definitely was able to do a lot of different things within my. I see y'all's comments. I see y'all's comments. Appreciate it. I definitely was able to do a lot of things because I was able to get out of my comfort zone, and it did come with a lot of struggle because I didn't know what I didn't know. Like I didn't know. I knew about what a credit score was, but how will that help me get to where I'm going with my career? When you move, you need somewhere to stay. So you have to equip yourself to be able to, you know, afford where you're going to live so that you can commute to and fro whatever opportunities. Also, networking, resume building, portfolios, you know, just different things that you will equip yourself with to make sure that you will be sustained in your journey. So like a lot of like the technical things, and not being afraid to work a side job to get to where you're going. I'll stop there.
Thank you so much, Queen. That was very good. And now we're going to take it back to the top of the state with Michelle. So Michelle, we'd like for you to share some of the challenges that you have experienced over the years and tell us how else you fill your days outside of your business.
Oh, interesting. Okay. There's a lot of that come with this business, and Queen, you touched on some of them. One of the challenges is self-motivation. There's a lot of self-motivation that goes in the fashion and entertainment industry, because let's face it, that's the business that we're all in. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to be kind of in the limelight and to be seen and to get for being. But you have to self-motivate yourself, because number one, Atlanta is, you know, referred to as hot Atlanta right now, but you still have to be very connected to other people, and you have to be willing to network and meet people, and also serve yourself around the right people. That's what I was telling the young lady, is that be around positive people, because a lot of people want to get into the industry. You have to be careful who's for you, and there might be people that are not for you. So one of the main things is to motivate, stay focused, stay with your brand. Like, I'm a creative. One of the things when I got started was, and I told my mom that I'm a creative, I wanted to create, and she said, yeah, be free, go to college, and then create. And so that was good. But when you're a creative, like, one of the things that is a big challenge for me is that I have so many ideas. I have so many big ideas of things that I want to do. I can't even sleep at night sometimes, because I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, oh, I need money for that. I need, so okay, I need a sponsor for that. Okay, well, guess what? It's not that easy just to get a sponsor. You know, it's who you know. And not in a negative way, but I will say Atlanta can tend to be a little clique sometimes. It's not always easy to get in to meet the right people that can connect you to what you want to do. So those are some of the biggest challenges for me, is to you have to strategically plan everything that you do. And Atlanta guys, is not in film and TV and in music, but this is really not a fashion city. So a lot of times I have to create things and send them, you know, give them to people. I have to create something and I have to figure out what people want and then create it and then present it to them, because my ideas are not always for that particular maybe client. So I have to regroup and refocus and strategize on how I can make it beneficial for everybody, so everybody wins. Because it's not about what I just want, because I love what I do, but I have to constantly think of ideas on how to make myself accessible, and how I'm not just helping myself, but I'm helping other people. And that's why I'm so passionate about students and those to start businesses, get into the fashion industry. You know, I like to give them the good, the bad, and the ugly, not just the good part, because you know, it's a constant struggle. And you always, the thing is, a lot of people undercut. So I'm a professional agency and I try to get the most, my models must be paid. That's number one. And so when people come and they're like, Michelle, we want a food show, we want 30 models. And I'm like, okay. They're like, but we're not paying. I'm like, oh, I hate that. I want to help. So I struggle between wanting to help, but also, you know, staying in business for myself. But it's not so much me. I just want to make sure that the people that I represent in New York, it's easy to get paid because there's a lot of fashion work. In Atlanta, there's not a lot of fashion work. And, you know, a lot of people don't have the budgets to pay for professional models. So those are just a few of the struggles that I endure having an entertainment company.
Now, do any of you guys out there have any questions before I give you our closing remarks for tonight? All right.
I actually, Ms. Campbell, to follow up Mrs. Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
in regards to what Mrs. Lynch was saying about the legitimacy of creative professions, you'll come across a lot of people who don't want to pay for your services.
Yes.
And that's a lot of things that you encounter, because to begin with, you know, when we came up, they didn't consider creative professions as practical. You know, like that's not a practical job. That's not a real job.
Yes.
And we often get the brunt of that, because it's like, as creatives, you're often like a freelancer a lot of times. Like with me personally, I never signed with an agency. I wasn't offered many good deals, so I just decided to stay freelance. But when I first entered in, I did a lot of free work, but I made sure that I honed my skills and able to, you know, increase my worth. And when I was solid official within that, like, I definitely did not undercut myself or like overwork myself for less or anything like that. So you definitely have to be strategic about how you move throughout and navigate. So I just wanted to speak to that, to Ms. Lynch. You know, she's definitely about that, and you really have to know your worth, and but be strategic as well, because not all free work is bad, but you have to definitely move accordingly, because we have to eat too. You know, creators have to eat too. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, Ms. Lynch, for that commentary.
Of course.
Michelle, do you want to pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I'll say in closing, I think I covered some of the challenge. There was something else that me. I would just say we are in, all of us are in a business where we have to stay encouraged.
What I like to do with our calls when we wrap up, I like to take notes from what our participants say and leave you with those thoughts. Some of the things that have been said today in fashion and beauty. Number one, a resounding theme has been to bet on yourself. There will be times when people will doubt you, but you have to bet on yourself. Another thing that has rung true tonight is go after what you want. If you listen to Tamika, if you listen to Mrs. Lou, Tamika told you that those agencies didn't necessarily work very hard for her, but she's had a very full career that has taken her over 20 years, and it's taken her around the globe because she wasn't afraid to go out and ask. One thing that I always tell my students is a yes or a no never killed anybody. You're looking for that one yes, so don't allow a no to deter you. Another thing that Miss Loto as well as Michelle has been saying is network. Build your network. Michelle told you that the Atlanta market has cliques. You have the opportunity to build your clique as well, or just connect. Be that Lego block that can stick onto a clique temporarily, snatch yourself off, and be able to stick onto another one. And do what you love. Do what you love, and it'll never feel like you're going to work. And Queen reminded you, sometimes you have to sacrifice so that you can eat. So pursue your love. Free work isn't always bad work. And stack your money. It is very important to be wise with your money, because just like she said, if she was not wise with her money, she would not be able to take the opportunities in the different cities, because you have to have money in order to have a place to live. So those were some amazing thoughts from our guests tonight. Before we shut out, does anybody have anything burning from the panel that you just need to get off your chest to make sure that the people hear before we close out tonight?
I want to say something. I think that this whole Mama Lisa segment is actually amazing. I've been kind of spying on you and checking you out. You're doing an awesome job. But I really think that your listeners should really take advantage of your panelists, because when you help someone else, that is success. You know, I've been in this business for 25 years, and I have been successful. I can be honest. My business is successful. And I get joy out of seeing stylists come through my door and leave and open their own salons, and we still have relationships. And it's like I say, it's about relationships. And I just want to say what you're doing is absolutely got me on fire.
Thank you so much. And just to piggyback on what Ms. Loto said, it is about relationships. One of the unique things about the Career Talks is I actually know all of the panelists that come on, and these relationships have been built over 20 years plus with a lot of the people here. So when you do that, you have the ability to call on people who will help you and also help other people. So that's another thing that we hope that you get. You know, when the people were sharing their challenges with you, I know a lot of times our listeners take those challenges with them. Whenever you experience a challenge in life, it's not just for you. You're going through that so that you can help the next man or woman who will experience that. Because when we hear that somebody else has overcome that, that gives us the courage, right? So all of you entrepreneurs, you had the guts to continue to pursue those businesses because you ran across successful entrepreneurs along the way. You saw them build despite the circumstances, and that gave you the courage. So we hope tonight that this call has given you the courage. I'm Mama Lisa. I know cool people, and I brought them to you. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you. Bye-bye.